It has recently been revealed that Qatar served as a sanctuary to the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks. His name, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, a Pakistani who grew up in Kuwait. The revelation was reported in a New York Daily News article by Richard Clarke, a former national coordinator for security and counterterrorism in both the Clinton and Bush administrations. Mohammed was considered by the US the most dangerous individual terrorist at large in 1996, after he was connected to bombing plots in New York and Manila. US intelligence located him in Qatar, but were unable to detain him immediately due to diplomatic barriers. When the US ambassador requested that Mohammed be held for a few hours, he mysteriously disappeared from Doha, despite the US envoy earlier meeting with then Qatari Emir Hamad to discuss the plan to detain him. Mohammed went on to organize the 9/11 attacks, the Bali bombing in Indonesia, and other attacks. Clarke asks the question, had Qataris handed him over as requested in 1996, would the world be a different place?
According to a ABC article dated February 1st, 2011, a suspected 9/11 scout team may have been linked to the September 11th attacks. However, the FBI and the State Department would state that they were not connected to the hijackers. See for yourself. In the wake of the September 11 terrorist attacks, the FBI investigated 3 men suspecting of scouting targets for the original 9/11 hijackers, but they determined that there was no concrete evidence linking the group to the September 11th co-conspirators and conducted the investigation as one of thousands. A leaked diplomatic cable posted on the WikiLeaks website shows that nearly a decade after the September 11, 2001 attacks, the U.S. Embassy in Doha, Qatar, in February of 2010, urged the Department of Homeland Security and the National Counterterrorism Center to place a man named Muhammad Ali Muhammad al-Daham al-Mansouri on a watch list for his alleged connection to the team of the 3 men from Qatar. It notes Mansouri was, as of February 10, 2010, under investigation by the FBI and was considered an individual who may pose a threat to civil aviation in the United States and abroad. According to the WikiLeaks cable released on the WikiLeaks website, the 3 men first visited New York City and Washington, D.C. They visited the World Trade Center, the Statue of Liberty, the White House, and various areas in Virginia. The men then flew to Los Angeles, California on August 24, 2001, aboard American Airlines Flight 143. They checked into one room in a hotel near the Los Angeles airport with a checkout date September 10th, 2001. They paid for the room using cash, and during the last few days of their stay, requested that their room not be cleaned. Hotel cleaning staff grew suspicious of the men because they noticed pilot-type uniforms, several laptops, and several cardboard boxes addressed to Syria, Jerusalem, Afghanistan, and Jordan in the room on previous cleaning visits. The men had a smashed cellular telephone in the room and a cell phone attached by wire to a computer. The room also contained pin-feed computer paper printouts with headers listing pilot names, airlines, flight numbers, and flight times. According to American Airlines records, the men scheduled return flights for September 10, 2001 aboard American Airlines Flight 144 from Los Angeles, California to Washington, D.C., but failed to board. The same plane used for American Airlines Flight 144 on September 10, 2001 was used for American Airlines Flight 77 on September 11, 2001. Records indicate that the men boarded BA Flight 268 on September 10th, 2001 from Los Angeles, California to London, England. The men returned to Qatar on BA Flight 125 from London, England to Doha on September 13th, 2001. A subsequent FBI investigation revealed that the men's plane tickets were paid for and their hotel reservations in Los Angeles, California, were made by a convicted terrorist. The investigation also revealed that the men spent a week with Mr. al-Mansouri traveling to different destinations in California. Al-Mansouri's visa was revoked after this information came to light, but his name was not watch listed in the class system. Post recommends that Mr. al-Mansouri information be entered into the class system on the basis of the ongoing FBI investigation and with his ties to terrorism. Qatar was proven to be lurking behind a huge series of terrorist operations in several countries, including the major 9/11 attacks, as it sheltered and protected one of its main co-conspirators and conspirators, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. And at the age of 16, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed joined the Muslim Brotherhood, which was an essential stepping stone in starting his career as an international terrorist. He would later travel to the United States to finish high school and enroll at North Carolina University, where he graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. All along, he never hid his negative opinion about the United States and always thought it was a racist country. Before Khalid Sheikh Mohammed joined Abdullah Azzam in Afghanistan, he flew to Afghanistan to fight in the war against the invading Soviet army for only 3 months, but he never joined al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda at the time was just beginning to be underway, but it was based upon members of the al-Masada camp in Paktia province. Bin Laden wanted an Arab group, for Arabs were considered inferior fighters compared to the Afghan Mujahideen. Bin Laden wanted to create his own camp, and that camp was al-Masada. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed had joined with Abdul Rasul Sayyaf in Pakistan, and Sayyaf is said to have been the one who forced bin Laden to take refuge in Afghanistan. And then a few years later, the Soviet troops withdrew from Afghanistan, leaving Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and other future jihadists without a cause to the Bosnian War. And then bin Laden transferred to Afghanistan, while Khalid Sheikh Mohammed traveled freely between Pakistan, Philippines, Qatar. Qatar had provided Khalid Sheikh Mohammed with money and logistical support until the early 1990s, where he managed to organize and support jihadists who were in Bosnia fighting against the Serbs and Croats. And according to former CIA case officer Robert Baer, in his book, Sleeping with the Devil, he mentioned that he met with then head of Qatari security services, Hamad bin Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani, who informed him that his services monitored phone calls showing that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was collaborating with Mohammed Shawki al-Islambuli to form what he described as a pro-Al-Qaeda terrorist cell known by Sheikh Abdullah bin Khalid Al Thani, then Qatari Minister of Interior and Religious Endowment. At the time, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was running a pro-Al-Qaeda cell in Qatar with al-Islambuli, the brother of the killer of the former Egyptian president Anwar Sadat, and by 1995, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed worked as a humanitarian aid worker for Egyptian Relief, which was a front for the Brotherhood that obtained, and he also obtained Bosnian citizenship in November of 95. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was in Doha at least twice during 1995 and 96. And during this time in Doha, Qatari Minister of Religious Affairs Sheikh Abdullah Al Thani sheltered Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who traveled in 1995 around the region to visit members of the worldwide jihadist community, especially Jemaah Islamiyah in Indonesia, Abu Sayyaf in the Philippines. He did not swear bayat, loyalty to bin Laden, until much later. And he also attempted to meet with bin Laden in the Sudan, as he was aided by Sudanese political leader Hassan al-Turabi of the National Islamic Front. CIA case officer Melissa Boyle had been tracking Khalid Sheikh Mohammed for months, as well as FBI New York counterterrorism agent Frank Pellegrino, who had proven that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed sent $600, a wire transfer, to one of the co-conspirators of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, Mohammed Salameh. But nobody knew who Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was or his links to Qatar. Richard Clarke, counterterrorism czar of the White House, described that Qatari intransigence to catch Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. But by 1996, because of his 1993 World Trade Center bombing and aborted Bajinka plots, the US government considered Khalid Sheikh Mohammed the most dangerous individual terrorist at large. Even though they could have captured him in Qatar, he had fled under the direction of Al Thani. From here, it is suggested by the New York Times that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed traveled to Israel and even inside the United States. Richard Clarke would further state that U.S. intelligence found Khalid Sheikh Mohammed in Qatar working in the water department. And that decision about what to do came next to an interagency committee in which Clarke chaired the counterterrorism security group. The Qataris had a history of terrorist sympathizers, and one cabinet member in particular, a member of the royal family, friends of the Saudi kingdom, who seemed to have ties to groups like Al-Qaeda and appeared to have sponsored the notorious Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. U.S. officials declined to comment on the veracity of the WikiLeaks cable, but two U.S. officials would later tell ABC News, who broke the story, that the men from Qatar were under investigation by the FBI as one of thousands of leads chased down in the wake of September 11th attacks. Neither Mansouri nor the names of the three Qatari men appear in the 9/11 Commission report. However, the question is why. It seemed that the plane that they were going to travel on, which was American Airlines Flight 144, which later would be used as American Airlines Flight 77 the next day, which was hijacked and then crashed into the Pentagon on September 11, 2001. Is this mere coincidence? Or is there something more? But much like the FBI after 9/11, they seem to stop investigating those that may have had a link in pre-intelligence and being involved with the operators and operation. More questions going unanswered by the United States government and the Department of Justice.